When people think about money, they usually have a magic number in their head. For some people, it's $10,000. For others, it's $50,000. And for some, it's $1 million. They think once they finally reach that number, they'll feel safe. The stress disappears, life becomes peaceful, and everything is finally figured out. But there's something most people don't understand. Sometimes the first $20,000 you save doesn't just make you feel richer, it changes the way you think forever.
And that's exactly what we're talking about today. Why reaching $20,000 matters far more than most people realize. How it changes the way you think, make decisions, and build your future. I'm Zaki, and in this video, we're going to break it all down. Let's get started.
And here's the weirdest part. After that point, money stops being just about buying things. It becomes about freedom, about time, and most importantly, about the way you make decisions. Because before that, most people are just living in survival mode. But after that, the entire game changes. And that's exactly what we're talking about today. Why reaching $20,000 matters way more than you think, and why so many people quit right before their life actually starts changing. Imagine there are two people. Both are 26 years old. Both make almost the same income. Both work hard. But one of them ends every month almost completely broke, and the other has around $20,000 saved. From the outside, they might not look that different, but mentally,
they live in two completely different worlds. The first person makes every decision under pressure. If his boss treats him badly, he has to tolerate it. If his car breaks down, he panics. If he loses his job, everything falls apart. But the second person, he's not rich yet. He doesn't own a Lamborghini. He might still live in a tiny apartment, but he has something the first person doesn't: mental space. And that's exactly what money gives you in the early stages. Not luxury, not status, but distance from constant fear. That's the part most people misunderstand about money. They think money only buys more stuff, but in reality, the first thing money buys is less anxiety, or more accurately, it removes anxiety. Most people spend their entire lives trapped in an invisible cycle: work, spend, stress, repeat. And the problem isn't that they're lazy. The problem is that when your mind is constantly focused on survival, it can't see the future. Psychologists call this a scarcity mindset. When you don't have enough money, your brain only focuses on immediate problems: this month's bills, rent, debt, food, unexpected expenses, and that makes long-term decisions almost impossible. That's why so many people know they should invest, but never do it. They know they should learn new skills, but keep postponing it. They know they should take calculated risks, but they're too afraid because their brain isn't programmed for growth. It's programmed for survival. And that's why that first $20,000 matters so much. Not because of the number itself, but because for the first time, it gives your brain time. And time changes the way you think. Let's make it simpler. Imagine every month you only have just enough money to survive. You're like someone swimming underwater, only getting a breath every few seconds. In that state, you can't think clearly. But now, imagine you've saved $20,000. Suddenly, if something goes wrong, it's not the end of the world. If your laptop breaks, you're not destroyed. If you want to spend a few months learning a skill, you actually can. If you want to try a new opportunity, fear doesn't completely paralyze you. That's the moment money starts creating leverage. Before that, you work for money. After that, money starts changing your behavior, and better behavior usually creates better results. Here's a strange truth most people realize too late. The first amount of money you save is the hardest part of the journey, not because of math, because of psychology. At the beginning, there's no feedback.
you save money, but you still look broke. You invest, but the numbers still look tiny. You work extra hours, but your life still hasn't changed. And that's where most people quit, because humans love immediate rewards. We want fast results, but building wealth is almost invisible in the beginning. It's like pushing a heavy car. For the first few minutes, it feels like nothing is happening. But once the car starts moving, it becomes much harder to stop. Let's talk about something almost nobody teaches young people. Wealth is not built from income alone. It's built from the gap between your income and your lifestyle. What does that mean? It means two people can earn the exact same amount, but one slowly becomes free while the other stays trapped forever. The problem is that when income increases, most people immediately increase their spending too. A better car, a newer phone, a more expensive house, more restaurants, and the brain labels that as progress. But most of the time, it's just a more expensive version of the same life. That's why some people with high incomes still feel financial stress, because the issue isn't just how much money you make. The real question is whether your money creates space and options for you. For many people, $20,000 is the first time they truly feel that space. Now here's the even more interesting part. When you create a little financial security, your behavior changes, and that behavior change matters more than the money itself. For example, someone under constant financial pressure usually makes short-term decisions, but someone with savings can afford to wait. And in the world of money, patience is a superpower. They don't have to accept the first opportunity. They don't have to buy everything immediately. They don't have to make emotional decisions just to survive. And most real wealth is built from that calmness, not excitement, not rushing,
but logical decisions repeated consistently over time. A lot of people think wealthy people simply have more money, but often they just have more time to make decisions. And that's a massive difference. When you're not under pressure, you think better. And when you think better, you make fewer mistakes. Sometimes avoiding one huge mistake is more valuable than making 10 smart moves, like avoiding bad debt, not panic selling investments, not staying stuck in a job you hate forever, not starting emotional businesses. Early savings act like a psychological shock absorber. They give you the ability to think before reacting, and that's exactly what most people never see. They only see the final results, the house, the car, the vacations, the lifestyle. But behind all of that is usually years of quiet, invisible security. Years where someone was building more options for their future instead of spending money trying to look successful. And that's the hard part, because on social media, nobody gets rewarded for being patient. Everything is about getting rich fast. But the truth is, most truly successful people look boring for a very long time. They grow slowly. They invest slowly. They learn slowly. And then one day, it suddenly looks like their life exploded upward, when in reality, that overnight success was built on years of foundations. Now you might ask, so is $20,000 a magical number? Not exactly. In some countries, it might be lower. In others, it might be higher. But the core idea is this. Once you escape survival mode, your brain starts thinking differently. And that mental shift is where real wealth building begins. Because real wealth isn't just the amount of money in your account. It's the ability to control your time, your decisions, and your future. There's another huge mistake people make too. They think more money will finally make them happy. But research keeps showing that humans adapt very quickly to new levels of comfort. The new car becomes normal after a few months. The bigger house becomes normal. The higher salary becomes normal too. This is called the hedonic treadmill. You keep running, but lasting satisfaction never stays for long. That's why some people still feel empty, even with high incomes, because the real problem was never just money. It was their relationship with money. And that's where many people get stuck. They use money to buy identity, to look successful, to look important, to look wealthy. But people who are truly free usually don't need to prove anything, because real security is quiet. So, if you're still at the beginning of your journey, remember this. Your first goal should not be to look rich. It should be to create distance. Distance between you and urgency. Distance between you and fear-based decisions. Distance between you and a life built purely around survival. And that distance slowly creates power. Now, the important question is, how do you actually reach that point? Most people search for complicated secrets, but the truth is usually much more boring. Earn more, spend less than you make, invest consistently, and repeat for a long time. Not overnight, not through crazy luck, but through habits that create mental space. And maybe the most important point of all is this. In the early years, your main focus shouldn't even be investment returns. It should be building your earning ability.
and controlling your financial behavior. Because your biggest asset in the beginning isn't your money, it's you, your skills, your energy, your ability to learn, and your ability to resist emotional spending. At the end of the day, what changes after $20,000 isn't just your bank account, it's the way you see life. For the first time, you might feel like maybe I don't have to keep running forever. Maybe I actually have choices. Maybe the future isn't that terrifying after all. And that feeling, for many people, it's more valuable than the money itself, because real money isn't just about buying things. It's about buying peace of mind. And once your mind escapes survival mode, it can finally start building the future you actually want. If you enjoyed this video and want more content about money, investing, financial psychology, and building a better future, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you're working toward your first $20,000, leave a comment below and tell us where you are on your journey. I'm Zaki. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.